Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. We're so excited to have you again. A lot has been happening in APC fairly recently. We've talked about disqualification of Obaseki. We also look at the case of Obaseki leaving. Right now, there's a lot of fight for who's going to lead. As we're talking to you, as you have also seen in our feed, the APC primary is ongoing. But guess what? This key stakeholder, for example, like the state chairman of APC, is not on ground. Why? He's supporting Victor Gyadem, who came up with a court order that if Adams Oshimole is kicked out of that position, he is the one that should occupy. Ajimobi, who had been appointed the acting national chairman, is even nowhere to be found. According to the information we've received, they say the man is critically ill. Some people are even relating it to the current pandemic. He's not on ground to do anything. Victor Hiliareta came up and took over the position from him, announced that today there will be primaries and the head of the primary will be Hope Uzodinma. Now, outside that, there are other issues right now burning real hard, and these issues are coming up because it seems the presidency, who is the one in charge of all affairs, seems not to be doing anything. As I'm talking to you, there is a protest right now in the Abuja office of APC. That's in their secretariat, APC Secretariat. The protest is carried out by some group of persons. They call themselves Concerned All Progressive Congress members, and they are tired of what is currently going on, and they are demanding that the National Working Committee should be sacked, that the presidency need to convene a meeting. They have given a timeline which he needs to convene the meeting so that those guys will be kicked out. And as I'm talking to you also, the presidency has decided to have a talk with the governors, the APC governors. I think because there had been a lot of castigations coming in from all angles, even some of those who are key member of APC, they are castigating seriously. As we are also talking, don't forget that yesterday, the APC deputy governor in Ondo State decided to decamp to PDP. Reasons yet to be fully mentioned. He said he's not ready to be in the party again. So you just realize that the issues in APC is increasing seriously. But before we go into further details, let's just look at the news in detail. And the news have it that the protesters have given President Muhammadu Buhari and the National Executive Committee of the party 72 hours to convene an emergency meeting and dissolve the present National Working Committee. Protesters under the platform of Concerned All Progressive Congress members have demonstrated at the National Secretariat of the party in Abuja, calling for the dissolution of the present National Working Committee of the party. The protesters gave President Muhammadu Buhari and National Executive Committee of the party 72 hours to convene an emergency meeting and dissolve the present National Working Committee. And a lot of reactions from different quarters. Most people believe that all of this is sponsored by different people. But guess what? When the fire start burning in the house from just a small paper, it's good for you to quench it. All of this is traceable to some things that have happened in the party. Let's be so real. For example, the case of Obaseki. They came up with some things that are very reasonable. For example, look at the reason why Obaseki was disqualified. They said it's certificate defection. What do you mean by certificate defection? They talked about that his own certificate had issues. That's his BSc certificate had some issues. Some people were of the opinion it doesn't look like a University of Ibadan certificate and all of that. But by the time University of Ibadan came up, they said that they were the one that issued the certificate to him. They also came up that it was a case of the NYSC, this and that, his name was properly not spelled. Just fairly recently, NYSC have decided to issue another certificate to him to show you that this thing has no business with certificate defection. The main issue here is that of him and Adams Oshimole. It's the case of godfatherism in Edo State. Before now, Godwin Obaseki had already come up and opened up on a lot of things that Adam Oshimole wanted to do. He wanted to be the invisible hand controlling the affairs of Edo State. And Adam Oshimole, Godwin Obaseki said, remember your words in the past when people wanted to do the same thing with you, the likes of Igbinenio and the rest. They wanted to do this and you fought them to a standstill. And when you finished the fight, you told Nigerians that you wanted to let the people know, they wanted to put an end actually to anything called godfatherism in Edo State. These were the exact word Adam Oshimole said when he was able to fight and conquer godfatherism. And according to him, he said, my greatest achievement are not the roads or red roofs. My greatest achievement is my victory over godfathers in the state. I want to be remembered for ending it and killing it. A situation where one man decide has been abolished. All I want is power to move to the people. The people should decide who becomes their leader, and the leader will not be answerable to any godfather but to them. I have made a promise to myself that the day I leave office, I will never interfere or distract whoever governs afterward. Those were the words of Adams Oshimole. But guess what? It's no more his words again, because that was what triggered all the trouble that actually happened in Edo State. So from there, other issues came up. And before we know, the whole thing was cut. And guess what? Like Professor Sage rightly said, he was of the opinion that the presidency needs to come in as at this time. Because the truth of the matter is, if nobody rise up to fix the issue, daily the PDP will be stripping them of their position. Okay, look at now. On those states, there's a lot of chaos there as we're talking, because the deputy governor who had so much influence in the party has decided to move to PDP, and he's going to be contesting against Akeredolu. So you can just see there that they are about to lose grounds. I don't even know if the coming of Adam Oshimole, despite how aggressive he had been, is even to the advantage of PDP, because it seems that because of his possibly selfish status, he had decided to, be at loggerhead with virtually everyone. As we are also talking to you right now, APC is currently having a meeting. That's Buhari himself. It's currently having a meeting with representatives of All Progressive Congress, that's APC governor, at the presidential villa. And the meeting is taking place now because of a lot of things that have happened. He had already met with the Senate president, that's Ahmed Lawando. Ahmed was talking about issue of insecurity and also the crisis that is threatening to tear apart the party. It is important, whoever that is the crux of the problem right now, whoever that is behind, kick him out of the party. Whether it is Adam Oshimole or not, strip him of that position. Because as long as he is around, there is bound to, he always want his personal drives to be obtainable. And if you allow him, things are not going to get well. So the ideal thing now is to reach a consensus and tell him, these are how things ought to be. These are how things, if not, the party will be nowhere to be found. All right, there are a lot of reactions from Nigeria, from different quarters. And I'm going to read one or two. This one said, this one says here that the presidency has shown that he is almost not existing, because if he's existing, he would have arisen and fought right. And this one says, correct the governors with Gadam. Let him see how Oshimole will have his way. Gadam remains APC acting chairman. Any primary not conducted by Gadam for now remains illegal. Someone would go to court to challenge it, just like Marafa did in Zamfara. You see there? So this issue of their APC, whatever, APC primaries, it's not reasonable. They would have cooled down everything until the whole issue is fully resolved. And this one said all those governors meeting with president are anti-Oshimole Tinubu, especially Bagudu, the chairman of Progressive Governors Forum. Whatever, nobody knows whether, but the truth is that whoever that is behind the issue needs to be kicked out. If not, it will be too late. Guess what? Most people are of the opinion that it's already too late for him to react. As a leader of a party, the president has a lot. And, unfortunately, what we are seeing is that he's seemingly unconcerned. And this is what has led to many actors laying claim to ownership of the party structure. Because of the president, because he's not doing anything. Everybody is saying this is what we want to see and all of that. So considering the disarray that this has led to and the endless litigation cycle it has generated, I think a true reconciliation is not visible. That's what I think. For you to say reconciliation is not visible, because who are you going to give the position of the acting national chairman to? If you give it to Victor Giadom, the National Working Committee automatically will be affected. Most of them will leave the party. So as at the time that this thing was bubbling, he would have called all of them to order and said, let's not allow our selfish interest to be more higher than the interest of the party, and things would have been corrected all right. But however, let's wait. 72 hours have been given for him to meet with the necessary stakeholders and see how they can dissolve National Working Committee. Let's see if he will do exactly that. That's where we're going to leave it.